Hello everyone, my name is Jorge Diaz, President and Founder of Larry Jacob Internet Marketing and an Infusionsoft Certified Consultant. This week on Defining Infusionsoft Success, I have Josh Earl back with me. He was with me back in the fall, and him and I met online when he started blogging every single day, and I somehow got on his list. He didn't spam me. I actually signed up for something. And I started getting really well-written, well-copywritten material on, information about marketing yourself, info marketing, those kind of tactics. And he's still at it every day. So I'm still following him. And he sent one about Gary V, that, Gary Vaynerchuk, that I wanted to bring up. And we're going to be talking about some marketing tactics that could work for you. So Josh, thank you so much for joining me again.
It's good to be back, George. Always great to talk to you.
Cool. So let's start with this. The title, and by the way, Josh has been kind enough to let me post some select few of his blogs, and so he's a guest blogger on our site. And the title of this one is Gary V's Suicidal Marketing Advice. And in here, he saw him over at where was it that you saw him?
I was at Trafficking Conversion 2016, back in March, I think it was.
Yeah. So earlier, this is about like 2-3 months ago, and it says it's easy to see why this guy has such a cult following. He's great at polarizing the audience. Either you love him or you hate him. When you repel a large segment of your listeners, the ones who don't storm out in a real huff really bond with you. And then you said, after you strip out the F-bombs and the slap in the face insults, which he's famous for. The point that jumped out at me was, what was it? No, you said something really cool here. Gee, I can't find it now. Okay. This comment exemplifies everything that drives me insane about the hypey marketing of the marketing business. So that was your declaration. And by the way, when I published this, I got a lot of comments on this one.
Yeah, I think I got more feedback to that email than I got to any other email that I've written. I was pretty nervous about it because Gary V's a very popular guy, and I think like close to 1% of my list actually responded, not read or clicked, but actually responded.
Yeah, and you don't see that too often.
No, and it was a lot of fun. But actually, several people kind of said, thank you for saying this, or I felt like I had permission. Something about Gary Vee has always rubbed me the wrong way, and I felt like I had permission to feel that way after reading your email.
Yeah, and it's funny because one of my customers who he's a writer as well. He does a lot of blogging. He says, I followed a lot of Gary V's advice, but I can see exactly why this guy is saying what he says. So he kind of like he was a fan of Gary's, but he also understood why if you kind of drink the Kool-Aid too hard, it might work to your disadvantage.
Yeah, I think for me the biggest problem is not always the advice that he's giving, but who's taking it. Like he's giving advice that might be something that a really advanced marketer could take and do something useful with, but the people that really are drawn to him are like, they're like white belts. I mean, they're like he's teaching a third level black belt class on social media, and the people that are buying into it are going to go out and get themselves killed in a street fight because they think that they think they're really something special, and that's what really bothers me. And the marketing is so hypey and fad driven as an industry, and he's just really piling on that aspect of it, and that's what really bothers me. It's like most of the stuff that works in marketing has worked for 100 years or more. I'm kind of like a marketing historian. Like I like to read the old classics. If you look at my bookshelf, you'll see a lot of books that are 80 to 100 years old, and that stuff is all still relevant. And but the media changes, but the principles behind it don't.
Right, and clearly you're about content. I mean, we're a development team, and we do a lot of implementations. Infusionsoft is our space, but content mean, actually, where I probably have the most fun is when I do writing, my own writing. And even like, recording this kind of material, because, I get to meet, folks like yourself. We get to kind of think outside of the box. I come out of these things and it's kind of like, oh, maybe I should try that. But again, a lot of it is, it's just proven. How do I, get people's attention? So how do I get noticed? In your case, just the fact that you're emailing every day, that alone, set you apart in my mind. And then I read a few of them, and your writing is interesting, flawless. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a single grammatical error in anything you've written. And by the way, that's not something I can say because my stuff is horrible. But I'm not a copywriter. And then can you get then people to convert? I mean, those are kind of the key things. And again, the media changes, and it could be Snapchat, I guess. But if it's not, you got to get noticed and you got to get people connected somehow.
Right. Yeah. The thing that really bugged me most about Gary's presentation was he used this phrase. He said, I day trade attention, and that mindset is what was like that just really grated on me because what happens, I see, like for me, my heart, like the people that I really care for. And the reason I write my emails is because of the small business owner who is completely frustrated, lost, overwhelmed with all of the options out there about marketing. They don't know what they should be paying attention to. They don't know what they should be doing first. And like I see my mission is to kind of try to help that person to get down to the real core principles of what works and what will continue to work for the next 10 to 20 years. And the idea of of trying to, arbitrage different media, and try to jump on the trends and anticipate all the trends, that's not where most people need to be spending their time.
Right.
It's a loser's game.
Yeah, no, and again, day trading, go back another 100 years and, what is it that's worked in the stock market? Well, it's like,
Yep.
steady, consistent investing. It's not, oh, let me see if I jump on this one winner stock, cross your fingers, and hope that everything works out, which is kind of like that.
In my retirement, I own index funds. Like, I am Mr. Boring when it comes to investing, too. I mean, it would be fun. Like, day trading is gambling, and gambling can be fun. And it's maybe not a bad idea to gamble with 5% of your time, in terms of marketing, but 95% of your time should be spent on things that are investments where you're building an asset for the future. And with social media, I poked Gary on Medium the other day too, because he had posted that. He said, "Oh, people are always asking me, like, is Snapchat going to be around in 2 years? That's a stupid question." Like he's saying, like, this is a stupid question. And he's like, it's like the TV ad, like when people buy advertising on TV stations. They don't go, is this show going to be around in 2 years? No, they don't care. They just buy the advertising because that's where the audience is. And that's a terrible analogy. Because the better analogy there would be, like with these social media channels, is you want to reach an audience, so you go out and you build your own, you invent television. You go out and you build your own television station from scratch, and you create your own programming in hopes of attracting an audience. I mean, that's when you change to a new social media platform, that's what you're doing. You're starting from scratch. You have nothing.
Yeah,
there's people using the platform, but you can't contact them. So you've got to make a huge investment to build a Twitter account or Snapchat account to the point where it can have any kind of impact on your business. That's a huge investment. And people are very, very smart to wait and see if these platforms are going to be around before they just jump on them.
Yeah, no, and for example, I for a long time I was using LinkedIn extensively, and that's because, gosh, going back 10 years, I don't know, I've got to check, but I've got 4,000 contacts. So, it ended up being pretty good. Ends up in the last year and a half, Facebook has really been what has taken off, and it's because in my field specifically, the membership site folks, Infusionsoft folks, hang out in probably a handful of groups, and so it makes perfect sense. I'm going to jump onto this public channel where my either potential partners or potential customers hang out, and I'm going to work to get noticed. But that's like buying advertising on an existing channel and then using the demographics of the people who watch that channel because I'm trying to reach those people. Not, let me start something from zero. But by the way, I already had, 1,000 plus connections.
Yeah, and that's what with Gary Vee's, what he's able to do. And if you have 1 million plus Twitter followers like he does, you can start a Snapchat channel.
Yeah, because you just invite people over.
Yeah, and they'll follow you. But your average, your mom and pop antique dress shop on the corner that has a Twitter account with 37 followers, like Snapchat, it's going to take a lot of work.
Yeah. So let me ask you. So why don't you share with us? What are the things that you've seen work for the clients that you help? I mean, you help people with email marketing, right?
Yeah, that's my specialty, really. And I mean, it is. I think email is one of those things where I genuinely think that most businesses can benefit from it.
And I agree. Infusionsoft is designed primarily for email marketing.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I got into email marketing not because I wanted to get into marketing, but I got into email marketing because I was trying to sell my own products, and I realized that email was the thing that worked. And so I basically just continued to invest in it. So I'm kind of an advocate for email now, but it's just because I've seen it work.
Well, and my involvement with email started probably about the same time I started using LinkedIn. I was looking for work, and I started finally organizing my list of contacts and started emailing people, and I go, wow, look at this. And then I jumped into a sales position, and I go, these same people that I was chasing after to help get work are the right people because I was in the tech space. And I go, these are the same people I could target as either customers or people that can refer me to other people. And frankly, that's kind of what led me to here. My list now is, probably 3,000 to 4,000 people, but they're people that are kind of tight in the space.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and I'm like, when I'm advising people, I try to keep, I hold a lot of options out very loosely and try to match what they're doing more specifically with them. Like I'm an email guy, but I don't try to force my coaching clients into email. I have a guy that right now that I'm helping put together a direct mail package because he's a mortgage guy, he's a mortgage broker, and I think direct mail is wide open for good the direct mail channel is not very crowded with good mortgage marketing.
No, and I look at my mailbox. My mailbox, I mean, if I get 4 or 5 pieces of mail a day, that's a lot. Yep. So it's not a crowded space, and if you can somehow differentiate yourself that way, some people when they compare it to email say, oh, it's too expensive. Well, yeah, I mean, it costs you stamps and some postage and stuff, but you're wide out there, and you're not competing with anybody.
Exactly. Yeah, and honestly, there's a lot you can do that bumps the ROI, so it's not nearly as expensive. I mean, with the package that we're putting together for this coaching client of mine, we're going to be doing the Gary Halbert style hand-addressed envelopes.
Okay.
The whole 9 yards. It's going to look like a personal letter. It's actually going to be, the letter itself is actually going to be from a client of his. So it's going to be a personal testimonial within a specific demographic. We've matched up this demographic, and I think it's going to work. I think it's going to kill. I mean, everybody's going to open that envelope, and that's the biggest challenge with direct mail is that anywhere from 50 to 85% of it gets thrown away without getting opened.
Right.
So if you can get it opened, you are your response is going to shoot through the roof.
No, right. And are you doing any lumpy mail?
I've done a couple lumpy mail things in the past. That's more like for high end. That's a great option if you've got like a high end consulting business or something like that where you can afford to spend a little bit more. No,
right. And you put something, some sort of trinket of some sort that people feel, and it's like, I wonder what this is.
Yeah, you can go crazy with it and actually send like packages of, I sent one guy a soccer ball.
Oh, wow.
I was trying to get. He was looking to hire a copywriter, and I was trying to get his attention. I didn't end up getting the gig, but
but he got a soccer ball.
he got a soccer ball. So
Cool. Well, any other advice? Who makes like the best kind of customer for you?
well, for me now, where I am with my business is I've partnered up with a friend and former coworker of mine, and we're kind of hunkered down together, working to build a business. So I'm not doing as much freelancing these days.
Oh, okay.
But what I am doing, so I'm in the process. I've been blogging and doing my daily emails lately about email courses, which are the main technique I'm using with this business that I'm involved in to sell our products, and it's worked really, really well. A lot of people that I've talked to about email marketing struggle with kind of like, you get to the point where you're building your list, you're growing, you see your list growing, and they're kind of like, oh, fantastic, now what? And like, what do I say, and how do I put together a sequence of emails that actually makes some sales or brings in business?
So the conversion point.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Once you get somebody actually onto your list, what do? And so the main tool we use at this business that I'm involved in is email courses, and they're like, it's a 5 to 10 day sequence of emails, and I structure it a certain way so it builds towards making a sale. And it's a lot of fun to do, and I've been having really good success with them. So I'm in the process of putting together a product around that. It's going to be probably the product I'm working on right now is like a live. It's going to be I'm coaching someone through the process of building their own email course and recording the whole thing. So it'll be kind of like a look over our shoulder, hot seat type of format.
So it's like a video sales letter approach?
No. So for the product or the
No, because you said you were recording.
Yeah. So I have a friend of mine who has this email course that he wrote a long time ago that has never converted. So I'm coaching him through the process of fixing it live, and then we're recording the whole thing, and then I'm going to package that up, and you'll get to see like the before and the after. It's kind of like this email course makeover with a bunch of good like live instruction thrown in there.
Nice.
So that's the main thing that I'm working on right now.
Cool. And then when is that, like for the fall or something later this year?
I haven't picked a launch date yet. I have to actually go through this whole process with him and coach him through the whole thing, and probably wait to see how the results are and everything, so we can talk about that aspect of it.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Well, very good. Well, when I publish this, I'll make sure that people can reach you. We got your signature on the articles that we've posted for you as a guest blogger.
Yes.
Thank you so much, because I think a lot of people, again, they see all the different options and they kind of wonder, what should I be doing? And frankly, something that looks a lot like what they would have done 20 years ago, but online, is probably the best advice.
Exactly. Yeah, the other thing I see people do too quickly is try to automate or scale up something that they don't even know is working.
Yeah, I hear you.
I like to try to encourage people to, think old school, think basics. Like try to get face-to-face conversations with people. Like I had a Skype call a couple weeks ago with a client, or with a customer of ours, this business, and just in 15 minutes I learned something that is going to become like the core of the way that we market this whole course, I think. It's like those high bandwidth personal connections. Really go a long way.
And to that point about don't over automate. One of my good lead streams is people finding my site because we've done a lot of SEO work, and then they just fill out a how can we help you form, and that used to be just a contact us form that we've kind of polished up, and then it used to just email me, and I literally would pick up the phone and schedule a call with people. And if they did it in California when I'm asleep, I wake up the next morning, and it was very manual. So the next step we did was allow them to schedule time on my calendar. Only because I saw that it was effective, and I was really nervous about messing with it because it was working. But I think people really appreciated, I even said, hey, call me to schedule time or use this link. And then, we use Appointment Core to schedule that, and it's part of an Infusionsoft sequence. And so now I was automating something I was already doing, which, takes time off of my plate. It actually services the customer better. But it wasn't until I had perfected it the old-fashioned way that I go, hey, let's automate this because it makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, I used to be a software developer, and that was like whenever we would tackle a new project or a little feature or whatever, we would spend sometimes days going through, and it would vary. Sometimes we would literally write out all the steps in text, or sometimes we would diagram it out. But we had to understand every single aspect of what needed to happen in order to write code to automate it. You can't, if you just dive in and just start coding,
yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. I think this is something that will be helpful for people, and I hope you have a great day.
Awesome. Thanks, George. See ya.